Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is going to be a little audio commentary to accompany a link I'm going to be giving you covering the first 18 minutes of Bloodborne. So a lot of people have been asking me what I think about this, and I wanted to share my opinions myself when I checked it out yesterday, but of course IGN do have an exclusivity on this, so if I put it up on the channel it'll probably get flagged immediately and have to be removed. So instead what I'm going to do is I have the video paused in the background. I'm going to do a nice little countdown so that you can synchronize when I press play on the video to when you press play, and then you can get a play-by-play of my thoughts as the video is playing out at your leisure. And that's pretty much how this is going to work. So if you're expecting video here, you're not going to see it, guys. You're going to have to go to a separate link. If you think that's redundant, I do apologise, but that's how the economics of YouTube work sometimes. But this could buffer because my internet's kind of shitty, and this is going to be 20 minutes. So let's get into it, shall we? So on 3, I'm going to press play, guys. I have the video paused at 0.02 seconds. It has blood and gore and violence thingy on the screen. So 1, 2, 3, and play. And then we'll see how this works. So as you can see, IGN are doing an entire month's worth of coverage of Bloodborne, and then it says that this footage is from an early build. So you'll notice there's a couple of key words in this beginning sequence. Transfusion seems to be the equivalent of bloodstain on this game, I believe. I do like the kind of first-person perspective there, where you could see your legs on the gurney or wherever the hell we are. Then it starts to blur the screen a little bit, which, you know, a lot of games do that. And then the blood transfusion is over, apparently, and it's night time. So the visuals look great. I hope this is actually running on a PS4 on this footage. I hope it's not a PC that's super stacked, because that would be disappointing. So, crazy werewolf creature thing climbs out of this big pool of blood. I wonder what the explanation is going to be for that one. It looks really nasty. And then gets killed by a pyromancer. Yeah. Have we been roofied at this point? Are we like Rohypnol Central? Ah, and then the little creatures, so these ugly looking dudes look a hell of a lot like the creatures that hold the skulls. What am I talking about? Hold the messages and hold the signs that players can put down on the ground. So as disgusting as they look, oh, there you go, they seem to have some kind of significance. And then you wake up in, is it Yosefka's clinic, or Iosefka? I don't know how to pronounce that. And look, the guy already looks cooler than anything in Dark Souls 2. And look how tall he is. I don't really get that. I wonder what character customization is going to be like, or are we all just going to be some tall dude? Which I don't think is a bad thing, you know? Tall dudes need help too sometimes. So the iconic door opening sequence, God, it looks good. And then he cruises down into this abandoned hospital, and as he pushes into this darkened room, he comes across the creature that we saw earlier, which is the kind of werewolfy thing. And it makes me wonder if you can stealth past this, because this does not end so well. So werewolf, you'll notice he doesn't have a weapon at this point, and he's being attacked by the toughest creature from the beta, or the alpha, and then he gets grabbed, which, don't know if you saw it there, guys, but that grab had a little weird detection on it, so that's going to be back in the game. So happy to see that. The "you died" is clearly not going to look like that. I think that's just because it's a placeholder for wherever Bloodborne's going to use. Although I would love it to, because it's kind of homage-y. And then the scene shifts. Music sounds really good in this game as well. Really good. So this is about the part where I was blown away. And it's nothing grand or massive, it's just what I realised. So he's just woken up in Dream Refuge, and it looks kind of otherworldly, kind of serene. And then he inspects this plain doll, which doesn't seem to do anything. And do you see those little dudes? There it is, messenger. Wow. I couldn't read that. It was too fast. I should have probably paused it. So his level is 10. He starts at level 10? Nice. Accept a gift from the messengers. Messengers offer you a firearm. Okay. So at the beginning here, it looks like they're giving him a choice between his melee weapon and his firearm. So what's that going to give him? Shield? Not received from messengers. Oh, a notebook. Whatever that does. So they're giving you your starting weapons. Oh, whoa. I did not spot this part. Inventory. Interesting. So the inventory looked like it had 4 slots there. This is something you're going to have to stop a lot. Kind of regretting the format now, but still I'm going to go back and look at some of this a little bit more deeply. But he puts his weapons on. I love how his suspenders are hanging behind him. Like, you know, I don't need no trousers to stay up. I'm tall enough, goddammit. Bath the messengers. Trading blood. Interesting. So blood must be the currency. I didn't get a chance to read all of it. Whoever's playing reads faster than fucking me. Wow. Acquire items, sell items, leave. So there's some kind of merchant, which is great. And that headstone awakens at the selected location at Yarnum. First floor sick room. So at this moment is when you realise this is like the Nexus. This Dream's Refuge is essentially your Nexus area. You go up to the gravestones, which are kind of like your archstones, and then you go into your world. And thus, the realisation of the spiritual successor to Demon Souls kind of makes a lot more sense. That was the grab. Look at the range on that grab. But kills it. Blood transfusion collected. I don't know if that's because he got blood from the creature or because he picked up his blood stain. Something along those lines. Then he pushes another door open. And then you'll notice that he's entering into a level now that we've seen at night time that is now currently during the day. Which is kind of interesting. Which pretty much leads me to believe there's going to be a night and day cycle in the game. And hopefully it'll completely shift, you know, the expectations of what happens. But his souls are up in the top right. Do you see that? Or whatever the hell the currency on this game is. Blood or juice or something. Well, this is all familiar, this. It's just a different lighting. So if you've seen any of the alpha footage, you'll know exactly where this is. As he takes out that dude with a couple of quick flicks of his razor. The person playing as well seems to know what he's doing. I don't know if it's Marty from IGN, I don't know if it's even IGN at all, but some of the gameplay on it makes me think that maybe it's not, because it seems like it's, you know, a lot more competent than some of the stuff that IGN generally do. But he climbs up here, there's the blood-curdling scream. I don't think you can see the spider thing just yet, but I could be wrong. So up here is, I think that's a bonfire? The lamp now transports you back to the Hunter's Refuge. I think that is your bonfire. I think it's the little skulls holding the little lantern. So this I don't understand. Who's he talking to? Is he talking to somebody on the other side of the window? Is it the light that symbolises that you can talk to the window? But the voice acting is similarly dark. And they all seem to have bloody British accents, as the generalisation seems to be these days. Not a bad thing though. I don't think it is a wealth of Game of Thronesy accents, so why not? But there's 8 pebbles. Pebbles, I assume, are just a way of distracting things, or maybe doing a little bit of damage. That guy did that on the alpha too, so you knew he was going to do it. There's a little bit of souls. He gave you 48 souls, or whatever they called in this. That dude's pretending to be on his ass. Is this the dude with the shield? That's the dude with the shield. So that running attack right there is taken, you know, from previous games. If you've ever been hit by the hollows with the torches, it looks almost exactly the same as that running charge he just did. So I'm going to apologise in advance, guys. My nose is running a little bit, but I can't stop it, of course, because the whole conceit here is that we're watching it together. But I thought this was interesting. He takes on the group of villagers that everybody generally avoids. And I have no idea what just happened. Was that the day and night cycle happening a little bit too quickly? Was that a torch going out? Lighting definitely shifted there dynamically. That's a backstab. Puts him into a stunned state. He then goes and presses R1. Gets the execution. I think that's a really interesting idea, that. Because, for instance, if you have a boss that does a really powerful swipe, but it spins him around or it leaves his back vulnerable, you could start charging as his swing is happening, get just outside of the range, and then release it to counter, and then immediately go into like a stab. There's going to be a ton of really cool strategies that you're going to see using things like that. Jump. Yeah, you knew this was going to happen. I don't know why they do that. Like, every single time there's an item in the open, it's a Souls-esque game. You know there's going to be something nasty. But the player's pretty comfortable as well at running around with half-life, which is nice to see. Because you see a lot of people get a bit paranoid when they lose their life, and, you know, so should they unless they're comfortable with it. But this guy just seems to be rolling with it. And right there he uses a healing item, which looks like a very fast heal. So if there is some kind of PvP in it, it makes me wonder what the healing's going to be like opposed to the people in your world and what have you. So he's been chased by something. Been chased by two things. And then there's a third guy who's clipping on a light bulb. A light bulb on a lamppost, sorry. Big swing takes him out. This game looks fucking beautiful, and it looks like the performance in it is a lot better than the build that I watched. So they could say, you know, it's an early build of an unfinished game, but it's still light years ahead of some of the footage they've showed. It looks really smooth. That might be just because I've come off of playing Lords of Fallen and that game runs like shit, I don't know, but it just... This looks very next-gen to me, in as much as it's that extra level of prettiness, and it seems to be running pretty damn good considering what's happening. There was a counter, you see that? You'll notice he counters with his hand, he doesn't counter with the weapon. I don't understand much about that, but it looks interesting. It's like he puts his fist in them and then pulls something out. There was the setup to backstab. So I think it's an intentional thing as well, the way they've done it, because now you can't just run past things and should you need to just immediately backstab. So now you actually have to plan those stabs instead of just getting them, which is definitely going to add an extra level of challenge, I think. So poise is definitely something that we need to know whether or not it's in the game, and if it is in the game, if it works. Might have been able to tell that from that paused menu, but I didn't have the time to scan everything. This looks really bad at this point. There was the emergency heal. Did he just double heal? Seems a bit excessive. And then the dude to the shield, which I haven't seen a kick yet, but then again, maybe you don't need to. I think changing between your weapon is what breaks the guard on this game. That's the guy with the gun, you want to be careful of him. That was a terrible decision. Yep. Oh, whoa. That looks like it's been neutered a bit on the alpha. That was killing people. People were getting one-shot by that guy. And if they weren't getting one-shot, they were getting severely damaged, and that was not severe damage. But nice to see that there's some alternative paths. Breaking some of those coffins to get past it. This guy obviously knows where he's going. As the dogs in the carriages go nuts. Oh, and this person. A witch doctor looking folk. Not a big fan of this accent. Bold Hunter's Mask. So I'm very curious as to what being a hunter even means in this game, aside from this need to get blood. Wow, those dogs are persistent. Yeah, I might want to be careful with that gun use, dude. He's going to backstab it? No, he's just going to crit it with a charge hit. A lot of people talking through closed doors. Safe places. It's interesting how you seem to just run into doorways and people start having conversations with you. But he's barely broken 2,000 souls at this point, or whatever the currency is. Which makes me wonder just how expensive the early levels will be. Opened from this side. Interesting. Oh! Yeah, the balance on this seems to be very different to stuff I've witnessed, because he just took a 3-hit combo with a very small life bar from one of those dudes, and on some of the other stuff you watched, the life was going down really quickly, and it makes me think that maybe during the alpha they balanced the game in a specific way so that people wouldn't fear the game's challenge or lack of challenge. And then when they've released this, it seems like they've probably flattened down a couple of the numbers a little bit to make it seem like a little bit more accessible for an early area. Because I assume this is level 1, I assume this is what you do when you start, because it does say the first 18 minutes of Bloodborne, so one can only imagine. That is cool, that I really like that. So there's 3 graves on the right there. I assume they all take you to Yharnam, because that's the world, isn't it? This guy looks cool. Has he got peg legs? Who am I again? Can you remember how cool that room sounded on Dark Souls, where every time somebody died a candle would light, and then when you got there you could barely fucking tell that's what it was meant to be? God, that game disappointed me. Oh, isn't Scholar Patch happening in like 2 days? I should probably check that out. I love the aesthetic of this game. I love... Ooh! He's fortifying shit from a fireplace! What? What does that even mean? How did he know to do that? This guy knows what he's doing. I would have never thought to go to a goddamn fireplace to try and upgrade. And then he goes back into Yharnam. Central Yharnam. But the thing that gets me with this is, we've seen this area a couple of times. We've seen the idea of maybe 3 different areas depending on those graves. Like, it makes me wonder just how many different places you're going to go to in this place, or if it's all going to be very this looking, which is not a bad thing as long as there's a lot of it. Like, I think Demon Souls is a decent length game. I think Dark Souls is a little bit longer, and I think Dark Souls 2 is a little bit longer still. So I would like Bloodborne to definitely have a decent length to it. Ooh, that's the guy with the brick. Is he going to fight him, or is he going to sneak past him? And all the birds on the floor. Oh, he sneaks. So if you didn't know, this is the Cleric Beast. And the first thing I realised is it doesn't warn you it's going to be a boss with a boss fog, which I think is a little bit deceptive. Because even Taurus didn't give us an idea that he was going to turn up. So, I think this is the first boss of the game. It's got a very scary theme as well. It's kind of like Ode to Joy, the Nightmare Edition. It makes some horrible noises too. I can't wait to kill this thing, just to shut it up. But the player, I think, you can kind of tell he knows what the Cleric Beast does. Because every time I saw people go that close to it on purpose, it ended badly for them. So this guy seems to have a handle on how to approach this creature and what it's going to do. So there was the shot, but it didn't get the crit. I think he's just going to do the thing what they were doing on the alpha, where they shoot its face enough and it drops down and lets you crit it. Yeah, I think the balance is way different for this. Ooh, nice. That seemed to stun him. How is he not dead? Oh, there you go. I was going to fucking say. Bit suspicious, that one. I do not care that IGN Rewind Theatre is on live. Go away. Oh, but that was the end of the video, folks. So yeah, Bloodborne. Wow. So much to take in, so much to pause and analyse. I can't even begin to start speaking. I'm doing my best not to get caught up in it because I got caught up in Dark Souls 2 and that disappointed me towards the end. So I'm hoping that if maybe I don't go that way, I'll be okay. But this game looks like... oh, it looks like it's made for you. If you're a fan of the Souls games, it has everything that I want to explore, everything that I want to do. And out of all the next-gen titles so far, it's close, it's realistic, and I just want to play it. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you found something interesting in that video as well. It's pretty damn exciting. And you take care now.